event. It is absolutely fantastic. Juan Pablo Montoya here, and there are 200 Colombians just flying over to see him do 4 runs up the hill. It's just brilliant.
Well, that's the attraction that the Festival of Speed has. I tell you, we've got more Formula One cars, new ones, than I've ever seen before, including Ferraris. I think it's going to be a very exciting weekend.
The smell and the speed and excitement, it's just great. You know, you've got to be here, you've got to do it. You've got to come here once in your lifetime anyway.
The cars are driven for the spectators here, whereas on the track they're driven for the business and the sport, which is, doesn't necessarily go hand in hand with spectator enjoyment. You can get closer, drivers wander around, so it's a good day out.
With this champagne, I'm happy. And hot dogs.
If I'd had lessons, I'd play this, but I have difficulty eating it.
Yeah, no, I enjoy these events. Actually, I think I'm the only current Grand Prix driver here that, well, maybe it's a bit unfair. Jean probably comes here through his own desire as well, but it's not a promotional day for me. I'm here just because I enjoy the atmosphere and to see some of the old cars and just generally pick up on enjoying motorsport.
And you're in a lovely Merc going up the hill this morning. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, apparently that's the car that Sterling Moss won the Mille Miglia and then doing 170 miles an hour for 12 hours or whatever it was. It's quite incredible because they're so physical to drive, not in the G-force sort of way that we have in a current Grand Prix car, but just mechanically, you know, to change the gear or to use the brakes, you have to really work hard. We drive at 100% because we can. Safety allows you to do that. I think they probably had to drive at 90%, one, because of the physical side, you know, there wasn't really a mentality for drivers keeping fit, and also they had to leave room for errors because they had no seatbelts, no rollover cages, and you know, as a percentage of racing drivers who ended up actually having fatalities, it was quite low when you consider how primitive the safety standards were.
Sterling, wonderful to see you yet again at another Goodwood. Do you ever think to yourself, I would love to get into a Williams BMW, or I'd love to get into a modern Ferrari?
Oh, no way. I have driven one. I mean, just out of interest to see what it's like. But no, I haven't got the competence. I haven't got the interest. I think it's a fascinating business. The way they can stick to the ceiling at under 100 miles an hour, I think is technically very interesting. But to drive a car where you don't steer on the throttle, which is what you do with the vehicles I know, when you don't, you know, and when it gets wet, and you've got to, the balance of the car is what matters. That's what I'm used to.
So you immediately said steer on the throttle more than on the hands or the arms. To you, the art was the throttle.
Look, when you go into a corner, you use the steering wheel. It's a wrong word, steering. You present it. If I go like that, I'm presenting the car to a right-hand corner. Then, if you've got enough power, you then put the foot on the throttle. And if you put, depending on where you put it on, how much you put on, or whether you roll back, that affects the handling of it, yeah.
Well, there you go, a masterclass from the undisputed master, Sterling. Tremendous. Thank you very much.
I've had fun.
This Speedvision program is brought to you by Toyota. More choices, better selection. Experience Toyota today.
Comfortable? The chair is a little bit like the cockpit of the Toyota-powered Walker Racing Champ car. The seat is custom molded to the driver's body. His position is more like reclining than sitting. 0 to 100 in 5 seconds. What a rush.
Choose road. Validating tires.
BF Goodrich tires with traction advantage.
Approved.
For control you can feel, no matter what roads you choose. BF Goodrich tires. Take control.
Hi, I'm Mike Andretti, and you're watching Speedvision.
You might think all alarm clock radios are the same, but when the power goes out, only one alarm clock radio is smart enough to reset itself to the exact right time, every time. The Smart Set from Emerson Research. Now you'll never have to set your alarm clock again, because the Smart Set will always automatically set itself to the correct time, day, date, month, and alarm settings, no matter how long the power has been out. The Smart Set has all the features you want, including a built-in AM/FM radio and his and her alarm settings that can each be set from Monday through Friday, weekends only, or one setting for every day of the week. And the Smart Set is the only alarm clock radio that will automatically set itself right out of the box, so you know it's always the right time. It even resets itself for daylight savings time and leap year.
That's smart.
All alarm clock radios are not created equal. With the Smart Set from Emerson, you'll never have to set your alarm clock again. Here's how to order yours now. To order your Smart Set, just call this toll-free number. Order a Smart Set for every room in your house and you'll never have to set a clock again. Smart Set comes with a 30-day guarantee. Don't wait. Call and order the Smart Set now.
While the Ferrari team prepared for the hill, Peter found their F1 strategist, Ross Brawn.
Well, Ross, I've got to say, I barely recognised you out of your Ferrari kit.
Yes.
Great to see you dressed this way.
Well, I don't very often come to race meetings on a social basis, but this is an exception. It's always a very enjoyable day. So,
what's the attraction here for you, the people or the cars?
Cars mainly, I must say. I mean, getting close to some of the old cars that I saw when I was a kid. I haven't had a chance to look around this year. I've just arrived, but we're going to have lunch and walk around this afternoon. But you can get close to them, you can see them, you can feel them. So that's the thing I like.
Well, tell us about when you were a kid and the sort of cars that impressed you and the technology that made an impact on you.
Well, my father worked for Firestone Racing, so he used to take me along to the racetrack when I was younger. And it was the days of Jim Clark and Graham Hill and those sort of things. I can't remember the cars very well. I mean, I knew they were there, but I used to go along. And it's like this. You can walk up to a car and look at it and talk to a driver, and that's where I started. And then I've always kept an interest in cars. And when I had a chance in mid-70s, I joined Williams. So that's where I started.
How is it for you when you see something like a Lotus 25, for example, a car you might have seen as a kid, and then you think, wow, I'm designing the equivalent of that now, and I'm in Chapman's position? And do you ever think that way?
No, I don't. I mean, you tend to look upon those guys as a sort of gods of their era. I remember when I first started in Formula 1 and Chapman was still working in Formula 1, and you could see him, but you don't talk to him. I mean, he was sort of one of those guys who you just were in awe of. So, and I don't think the same now. I don't think the same with the position I have. But sometimes kids come up and you can see they're shy and they hold back, and you think, crikey, that's how I was a few years ago. So.
Ferrari test driver Luca Badoer, in a 2000 team car, negotiated the winding hill with ease, adding 2 kilometres to the thousands he's already completed in the cars this season. So how did a former Ferrari world champion find jumping back behind the wheel of a period Formula 1 car?
Quite easy, actually. You get in, you know where the buttons are, you put it in first gear and off you go.
Double Ferrari world champion Niki Lauda stepped back in time with the 1978 Ferrari 312 T3. This distinctive spearhead car is the actual one in which Gilles Villeneuve scored his debut win at his home Grand Prix in Montreal. It's now owned by rock drummer and collector Nick Macy. After the break, we look at Niki Lauda's latest Formula 1 team.
Cars from Chrysler. Exhilarating performance. Incredible engineering. And of course, eye-catching designs.
Richard Petty Drive-In Experience. The thrill of a lifetime. 1-800-B-PETTY.
Great job, buddy. Now, next time you come to the green... Hey, buddy, the light's green. Move it, would you?
Richard Petty Drive-In Experience. Get into the seat. 1-800-B-PETTY. Now hear this. Need to know what to watch on Speedvision? Log on to speedvision.com. Find the latest daily, weekly, and monthly program schedules from the world of speed. Get the inside line anytime. Log on to speedvision.com.
Eddie Irvine always attracts the crowds and, as usual, put on a real show at Goodwood. Eddie hurled the 2001 Jaguar Ford R2 up the hill with gusto.
He's a master of this sort of behaviour. And Exeter now then. Here we are, cheering on. Eddie Irvine in the Jaguar. Disappears in a huge cloud of smoke. Brilliant performance by Eddie Irvine.
We spoke with Jaguar Racing Supremo Nicky Lauda and his #1 driver at the top of the hill.
Eddie, good to see you. What do you think of, well...
We had to get an extra strong zip.
Not true, this is one of Bertie's overalls, and he's much smaller than I am. It's good to see you both here. Thank you very much indeed for coming. Are you having a good time, Eddie?
Yeah, it's great. The course is a lot longer than I remembered it the last time I did it. I don't know whether they extended it or not, but it seems a lot twistier and a lot longer.
And but you took so long coming up doing all those wheel spins.
I got lost. And I got scared. I got very scared.
Last weekend, you were really going somewhere. You were racing all the time.
Yeah, it's great. You know, it's a lot of fun. You know, everyone says it must be bad being in the midfield, but actually it makes life more difficult. But it's a hell of a... The races are a hell of a lot shorter this year because I'm just having so much fun during them.
It's good. He's doing well, huh?
No, he did a very good race, especially the last one. Monte Carlo was a masterpiece anyway, but the last one he was really fighting, which I liked very much.
I thought he was really fighting too, I have to say.
That's what the Irish do.
Another team forcing its way back into the F1 reckoning is Williams BMW at Goodwood with Juan Pablo Montoya.
Juan, great to see you here at Goodwood. Hundreds of millions of people here, all shouting Montoya. What's going on?
There's quite a lot of Colombians here. It's pretty good, you know. My first time here. I don't even know where the road goes. I'm just gonna spin the wheels a little bit.
But what do you think about this as an event so far? The people here, the other cars, the bikes, the atmosphere?
Oh, it's good, you know. It's time, you know, to you can see a bit of the, past, and we're like in the driver's lounge, and Jack Brabham and all sort of drivers like that is amazing.
Any instructions from Frank or Patrick about this weekend?
No, just spin the wheels.
Patrick, here at the Goodwood Festival of Speed, we're not used to hearing engines on the rev limiter, traction control, almost car smoke. What is going on with Juan Pablo Montoya out there?
Well, it is a last year's car, but whatever systems it has are all switched off anyway. So I wasn't actually here yesterday, but I'm sure there was lots of smoke and lots of noise. Typical Juan Pablo, anyway.
After some lean years, Williams chief Patrick Head knows all too well how difficult it'll be to break the Ferrari and McLaren stranglehold on real Formula One success.
Michael with Ferrari is a pretty class act, and the difficulty is to try and be in a position where we can compete with him at every race. And in truth, we've been on the front row with Ralph for the last 2 races, once in second position, once in first position, and both cases Michael's won the race. So that's really the next challenge for us, is to be able to make the best of the tyres, make the best of the strategy, and try and come out in the #1 position.
Now, believe it or not, there are almost enough of these Minardi Formula One 2-seaters to start their own race series. 8 of them provide thrills for competition winners and raise thousands of pounds for charity. And new Minardi owner Patrick Stoddart was giving his passenger the ride of a lifetime. Meanwhile, Darren Manning in the BAR Honda gave the crowd a real spectacle with probably the best F1 run of the weekend.
There's Darren. I think we're going to see him again. Darren Manning then, ladies and gentlemen, in the BAR. Superb display, but I think Darren gets the vote so far.
Former Benetton team driver and now McLaren test driver Alexander Wurz, like all the drivers, understands the importance of performing for the crowds.
Morning, Harris. Paper?
Not today, Bob. Looking for a wireless camera, huh, Harris?
What? Are you looking for a new job, Harris?
Need your carpets cleaned, Harris?
MP3 player?
Looking for a sailboat?
Click here.
Is your internet provider selling your personal information? That's not the way the internet was meant to be. Switch to Earthlink, the #1 provider of the real internet. Call 1-800-817-5057. Join now and you'll get a free color printer and scanner. With Earthlink, your personal information stays personal, and you get fast direct connection to the internet. 8 email addresses, instant messaging, and more local access numbers than any other ISP. We'll even help you tell your friends your new email address, all for just $21.95 a month. So switch to Earthlink today. Get a free color printer and scanner, and keep your personal information personal.
Love life not what it should be, huh, Harris?
Call 1-800-817-5057. Earthlink.
Introducing the Acura MDX, taking the SUV to a place it's never been before.
Cycling rules the road on OLN with live coverage of the Volta a España starting September 8th at 9:30 a.m. Plus, spin on in for High Gear Thursdays, the world's top cycling events every Thursday night. For the best in road cycling this fall, it's OLN.
American actor and car enthusiast Anthony Edwards has become a familiar face at the Goodwood Festival, and this year he was driving a Porsche 911.
Probably will be driving on the wrong side of the road. Well, I came here, I pulled up the driveway to this house, and a guy handed me keys to a Porsche and said, you know, would you like to have a drive?
Life is very simple, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I'm just, you know, I'm a racing fan. We sponsored a car at the Indy 500 this year, so I've been there the last couple of years and just been following racing. I'm a huge Speedvision follower. My wife was joking because the only reason we had our satellite put in was so I could get Speedvision to watch the F1 races. And for me, it's a great kind of boys' weekend getaway with my best friend Dante, and we came over and just 2 days of fun. You go into the Drivers Club, and I was talking to Juan Montoya, who I'm a huge fan of, and you know, Bobby Unser's in there, and Brabham, and Surtees, and Phil Hill, and Jensen Button, and Damon Hill's here, and Coulthard, and Alexander Wirtz. You know, you name them, they're here.
Another of the supercars was driven by Formula One driver Jensen Button.
It's Renault Clio V6. It's good fun. I've got one on the road, and obviously I haven't been able to, you know, use its full potential on the road, so it's nice to actually drive it on a circuit or up a hill, so it's good fun. It's got a lot of power. It sounds great, which is the best thing about it, and the air conditioning is good as well.
The world of the Formula One driver, extremely busy racing, testing all the time, but suddenly you come along to Goodwood to meet all these old cars and old drivers. What's it like?
It's great. I mean, it's very busy for us, but it's good. I mean, the crowds get to see the cars, and also the driver is quite close up, and we get to see nice cars as well, which is fantastic.
Anything particularly taken your fancy so far?
I don't know about fancy. I'm driving in 1902. I think it's Paris to Vienna. It was driven by Renault's brother himself, I think. So that should be quite good fun. I'm actually a bit scared because the brakes don't work very well, and but it has got a sequential gearbox, which is quite impressive. 1902.
So, was it difficult to drive?
It's the most difficult thing I've ever driven in my whole life.
So what's difficult about it?
It's just really difficult. You have lots of different things to do. I mean, I'm a Formula 1 driver. We just turn the steering wheel, don't we? So it's, yeah, it's really, really difficult. But it's good fun. It's different, isn't it?
So how was the traction control?
Traction control was very good. I got a bit of wheel spin off the start, but otherwise it worked very well.
Do you know how to work all the pedals and everything? You know what they all do?
Yeah, I know I've got a clutch in this, which I wasn't quite sure, you know, a foot clutch, but it's good. Everything works okay. It's cool. I couldn't quite get the gearbox. I was trying to get second gear and I couldn't quite get it. That's why I had to stop after the start. But yeah, it's good fun.
So were you in one gear the whole way?
I think so. I'm not sure.
More from the earliest days of motoring after the break, when Alain de Cadenet and Doug Nye take a walk around the Brooklands paddock.
Sure, there are other ways to get out there, but then you don't get all the styling, engineering, and mystique of a Kawasaki Vulcan.
Does the car make the man, or does the man make the car? Come on, the car really makes the man, don't you think? The Speedvision GT and Touring Car Championships. All season long, only on Speedvision.
Be there.
Watch this carpet stain closely. It's out. Completely. Incredible. Introducing Out and Clean. It's the first stain remover for carpeting that works instantly. Just spray it on and the stain is out. Your carpet is left spotless. Hot coffee, iced tea, even red wine. Just spray on Out and Clean and watch that stain disappear right before your eyes. No rubbing, no scrubbing. What a difference. Uh-oh, this calls for professional cleaning, but not when you have Out and Clean. Just a simple spray and those ugly black grease stains vanish in seconds. Whatever the carpet, whatever the color, Out and Clean quickly removes any stain, even month-old smelly pet stains. Out and Clean gets rid of both the stain and the odor, but that's just the beginning. Out and Clean works great on upholstery too. Mustard, ketchup, even gravy stains disappear like magic. You have to see it to believe it. Soft drinks, grape juice, even melted chocolate is no match for Out and Clean. Just spray it on and the stain is out. It looks like new. And look, don't take those draperies down to clean them. Just use Out and Clean on those age-old stains and you'll never know they were there. It works great in your car or van too. Any stain on the carpet or upholstery is out with just a spray. Why try to scrub stains the old-fashioned way? With Out and Clean, you just spray it on and the stain is out. What a difference! This incredible cleaning marvel is yours for only $19.95. Guaranteed to remove any stain instantly or your money back. But wait, through this exclusive TV offer, if you call right now, we'll double your order at no extra charge. That's right, you get 2 large spray bottles of Out and Clean for only $19.95. So order now.
To order Out and Clean, have your credit card ready and call toll-free 1-800-284-8900 or send check or money order for $19.95 plus $6.95 shipping and handling to Out and Clean, 6960 Eastgate Boulevard, Lebanon, Tennessee. Call 1-800-284-8900.
Away from the hurly-burly of the Formula One display is the Brooklands paddock, which presents a more genteel atmosphere and allows enthusiasts the time to question owners and drivers in some detail.
I find everyone very, very helpful. Any car asks about any drivers, mechanics, you ask a question, they couldn't be more helpful.
As long as you're polite, they invite you to get close to the cars, so that's very nice. I don't think there's any other automotive festival like it in the world. It's very different.
For many, the star of the show was Fiat's land speed record car Mephistopheles, a monster that our own motoring monster Doug Nye has actually driven.
Well, 2 weeks ago in Italy, I drove this great monster, and it is fire-breathing, and it does spray hot oil and brimstone and treacle all over everywhere. It completely destroyed my trousers, which were soaked in hot oil in the cockpit. It is phenomenally fast. It accelerates from 1400 RPM to 1800 RPM just by giving the accelerator a tiny prod.
That was fantastic. Bella, bella, bella.
And it's a very historic car because it's actually the last car to set the world land speed record on a public road. And it's based on this 1907 Grand Prix chassis, which was brought to Brooklands in England in 1908. And it was electronically timed then, lapping at 120 miles per hour, which was 20 miles per hour faster than anything else had run round Brooklands, even in what was then a little engine fitted. That engine was then blown up, and then the car fell into complete neglect during the First World War. At the end of the war, the remains were bought for £25 by a chap called Ernest Eldridge, who lived in London, and he was quite keen and quite inventive. And he also bought a First World War surplus 21.7-litre six-cylinder airship engine, which is this engine. And then, being even more inventive, he bought a London General Omnibus Company bus chassis. And he cut out a length of the bus chassis, which he then fitted in from here, and it runs along right the way through to there. And now he had a chassis that was big enough to put the airship engine in. And he raced at Brooklands, and then in 1924, they took it to a speed meeting on the Arpajon Road, south of Paris, in France. And he won the speed meeting. And he won the speed meeting by going fast enough to set a new land speed record. He did 146 miles per hour in this car, and having driven it at probably half that, I really admire him. He was either incredibly brave or incredibly dumb, and I'm not sure which.
Alan de Cadenet talked with the Mephistopheles Mechanico about this unique car's little idiosyncrasies.
320 cavalli. 320 horsepower when everything is working properly. The problem they've got with the engine is that the valves seat when the engine is cold. As the engine starts to heat up, the valves aren't seating properly, so it's losing compression. The other problem is that there are 4 spark plugs per cylinder, 4 magnetos. Now, originally, there were 2 magnetos. One was set at 32 degrees before top dead center. The other one was set at 35 degrees before top dead center. Today, with the 4 mags, I'm afraid the ignition is out. So we're getting intermittent sparking, and so the engine is misfiring quite badly. Mais la puissance est vraiment beaucoup. Right. Well, of course, what he said there was that although there are 320 horsepower, the front of the car handles quite well because the nose gives a little bit of download and keeps the front end on the ground. But there's still 320 horsepower going through 2 skinny little rear tires driven by those chains. It's a bit of a brute when they all come on together. La carburazione a œil et a oreille. Alors, well, it's also just a little bit more complicated in some ways because once you get this great car going, the driver has to tune the carburetors by eye and by ear. And there's a little hand pump in there to pressurize the fuel down to the carburetors. Now, if you give it too much fuel, the exhaust gets black and sooty and the plugs soot up and it won't work properly. If you give it too little air, it'll run lean. So whilst the driver's driving this car, controlling the 320 horsepower through those skinny little tires, trying to point it in the right direction, is also looking and listening for the carburation. So it's not an easy car to drive at all, and that's why, rather sadly, it's not running quite as well as it could run today. But she's still here, and we can listen to her and watch her, which is a great privilege, I think, and it's a very brave and courageous thing for Fiat to have brought her all the way to England so that we can all enjoy this car, which, in fact, many years ago used to live here. So it's the return back home to good old England for Mephistopheles.
And here is the other great car that really made that speed weekend at Arpajon in 1924 such a sensational event, because this is the V12 10.5-litre Delage, and the two of them traded the world land speed record back between one another at well over 140 miles an hour, running on this very narrow, high-crowned French public road. It was dead straight, but it was only about 25 feet wide, and it was lined by the most enormous trees on both sides. The great thing is that today is the first time in 77 years that these two great cars that duelled over the world land speed record in 1924 at Arpachon have been together.
Next, we'll look at some stars from the world of European hill climbing and road racing.
The shark has pretty teeth. It's called jazz. And now, all the best jazz is together in one collection. Time Life Music presents the Classic Jazz Collection. You'll hear 30 jazz classics. Get classic jazz on 2 CDs or 2 cassettes.
It don't mean a thing if it ain't got.
Then audition other great jazz albums. Satisfaction guaranteed.
Miss the Saturday dance.
So call now and get 2 albums of classic jazz.
To order classic jazz, use your credit card and call 1-800-974-7755 or send $19.99 for 2 CDs and 2 cassettes, plus $3.99 shipping to the address on your screen.
I remember 20 years ago how they turned the racing world upside down. First by introducing a race car with quattro all-wheel drive, and second by having a woman drive it.
Don't miss Speedvision's coverage of the US F1 Grand Prix from Indy. Watch Speedvision to enter the US Grand Prix Watch and Win Fan Challenge presented by Tag Heuer. And you could win a trip for 2 to the 2002 US Grand Prix and Tag Heuer luxury watches. So catch the US Grand Prix on Speedvision.
Lots of famous luminaries here at the Goodwood Festival of Speed, but if you had your pick, and I had to speak to one man, it would be Paul Rocher, because Paul will deny it, of course, but he's been the architect. He's been instrumental in a lot of BMW's motorsport success over the years, engine designer, and he was an original architect of the engine you currently see in the BMW Williams Formula One car, which is very successful in the 2001 season in the hands of Ralf Schumacher and Juan Pablo Montoya. Paul, wonderful to see you here. Okay. You're in an incredible car. Tell us all about it. What is this? It's a 1960 700 RS.
The car was built 1960.
Yes.
Then we are using the 700 cubic centimeter engine from the production car.
Yeah.
But in this car, we turned the engine. It's a real mid-engine car.
Brilliant, this is mid-engine.
Yeah, and we have different cylinder heads on with overhead camshaft.
So it was a hill climb car, basically, I guess.
Okay, it was one time, I think, Nürburgring. Alex from Falkenhausen was driving this car, and Herbert Linge. And Hans Stuck also one time, yes.
So what were your emotions when Ralph won at Imola?
No, okay, I drank a Weissbier.
Peter Hardman is always very quick, and here he is in the beautiful Ferrari 206 SP that was brilliantly driven to victory in the 1966 European Mountain Championship by Ludovico Scarfiotti. This stunning car also contested 4 Targa Florio races. Another Targa Florio car, this Alfa Romeo Tipo 33, also dominated the 1968 World Championship 2-litre sports class with wins at the Nürburgring, Mugello, Imola and Le Mans. And here's another champion Ferrari, the 212E, in which Peter Shetty took the 1969 European Mountain title. Its engine is a 2-litre flat 12. Here it's driven in winning style by former British hill climb champion David Franklin, who was consistently one of the fastest drivers all weekend. Sports car racing legend Derek Bell positively revelled in the delights of the Targa Florio winning Porsche 908.
I must admit, I forgot how good it was to drive. I drove it 30 years ago at the Nürburgring with Joe Siffert.
And then, you know, this was really the first time I've been reunited with this very car. And it's, I mean, I've had the chance to drive it before, but said, no, I'll drive something with more power. But having just got in it and gone up the hill, I mean, you get to the first two corners, you go, this is really rather special. And then, you know, you let it hang out, and then I really had a blast.
So what is it, feeling on top of the car because you're sitting so near the front, you just really feel part of it?
I mean, I think what Porsche did is they said, we've got to put this flat 8 engine in a chassis. Let's make the smallest, you know, lightest chassis we possibly can. There weren't weight restrictions of great. No, I don't know how many kilos it was. 550 kilos. I mean, this thing weighed less than 1,200 pounds. And, it, you know, it had sort of 400 horsepower. I mean, just fantastic. And it just goes. And it just keeps going. And it's in typical Porsche. It's meant to make the driver happy. And you just turn it and put the power on. The tail goes out a bit. Absolutely magnificent. Whereas all these modern ones are saying, well, we can't get the tires warm, getting understeer going in because of, obviously, the hill's got so few corners. This thing works just like that. It's brilliant, yeah.
But it was specifically built for the Targa and the Nürburgring. And one of the things I read at the time was that it was driver forward in the car, so you could have better visibility. Is that something you feel as well?
It is. It's a strange thing. I hadn't thought of it like that until I was sitting in it out there just now, and I went, isn't it fantastic to have this visibility? Because actually you can see nothing but what's in front of you, which is pretty logical, but you can't see the car because the nose just drops straight away. And of course that is an incredible advantage, and that's what's so wonderful about open cars, which I still adore, although everybody loves the closed ones. But I think from a driving point of view, to be in an open car like this is fantastic.
Lord March also enjoyed the 9083 for his annual ride up his Goodwood Hill.
Yeah, it's a 9083 Porsche, beautiful car, 1970. Won the Targa Florio in 1970. And even though I made a complete hash of the run up the hill just now, it's probably the ultimate car for coming up here, really. It's very short chassis, it's about 500 horsepower, and you sit right over the front wheel, so lots of visibility and very light. It's just perfect. Thanks to the Porsche Museum for lending it to me.
Hello, baby. Ooh, you've been gone too long. Come right in and tell me how you've been. I sure missed you since you've been gone.
More best friends depend on Chevy.
You're sure looking swell.
We'll be there.
This time you're going to see everything from the inside. When I pass, you'll pass. When I brake, you'll brake. And when I crash, well, let's cross that bridge when we come to it.
The Speedvision GT and Touring Car Championship broadcasts right from the driver's seat with some of the greatest road racers of all time, like Derek Bell. He'll take you through every apex and pass, every checkered flag. Only on Speedvision. When he screams, you'll scream.
Motorbikes at Goodwood always attract a passionate crowd, and this year there was a host of star bikes and riders. Even Alan de Cadenet got a ride.
There's a lot of drivers and riders here having a bit of a treat getting up the hill here at Goodwood, and the Honda factory have sent over virtually all of their wonderful museum Grand Prix bikes to go up the hill. Now, Luca Cadalora wasn't able to be here, but his 1991 250cc Grand Prix winning machine is here. It's an NSR 250. They asked me if I'd like to ride it. Well, I didn't need much persuasion, I can tell you. It's a truly wonderful little bike. Two-stroke V4 at 85 horsepower. He won 8 Grand Prix in 1991 and the World Championship. And for me, it's a bit like a dream come true to belong to this fabulous little Honda team for the day.
Leading off the Honda collection is Luigi Taveri on the Honda RC149, a 20,000 RPM 125cc machine. Diminutive Swiss was a winner of 5 Grand Prix and the 1964 world title. You can see how he's folded onto his bike, a position which begat his nickname, the Swiss Army Knife. Another world champion, Ralph Bryans, makes a wobbly start on Honda's 6-cylinder 350, a bike similar to Mike Halewood's world championship machine.
Jim Redmond, this is almost like an annual outing for you then at Goodwood, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, this is the best meeting of the year, I think. You know, you've got the mixture of the best bikes in the world and some of the best cars in the world, so it's fantastic. You get on a modern bike and it's all so quiet, and you jump on these things, immediately you feel at home and they make a great noise, so the crowd love it.
But then they're not as easy to ride as the modern bikes, are they? Very peaky. You've got to rev them up to get them on the cam.
Yeah, that's right. You know, that little 1255, if you let it drop below 10,000, it stalls. So you've got to keep it up there, and there's power bands from about 17 to 22, something like that.
So, Mick Grant, we've ridden round Goodwood a few times together, but this is a bit different, isn't it?
It's a lot different. This is short and sweet. It's a nice little hill, really. Just a couple of fairly sharp corners on it that could catch you out if you're not careful.
Tell me about the machine you're riding here today.
This is a machine I rode in '79 and 1980 in the British Formula 1 Championship. I also won the TT on it, and it's also the one that I allegedly bashed the tank in at the end of the race. So it's got a bit of history with it.
See, that's what I think so fabulous about Honda bringing all these machines over from the factory. We'd never get a chance to see them otherwise if Lord March wasn't able to persuade them.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the noise these things make is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, the RS1000 I'm riding today is probably one of the quieter ones because it was racing at a time when we had silencers, unfortunately. But the sound of these other bikes is absolutely unbelievable.
Wayne Gardner, now you won, what, 17, 18 Grand Prix, you're an ex-world champion, and here you are at Goodwood. I mean, it's a bit different, isn't it?
It's a little bit of a surprise, isn't it? But look, it's nice to be here. The atmosphere is fantastic. You know, by the size of the crowd, you can see that they're really happy to see, obviously, all past champions here, and it's just nice to be part of it, and there's some good parties to go to as well. Weather's holding off for us, which is great, and again, I also get a chance to go and ride a Grand Prix 500, and I haven't ridden one for 10 years or so, so this is going to be a bit of a surprise, and as I said, it's a great opportunity.
Honda wasn't the only bike company to send world champions to Goodwood. Ducati brought along a certain superbike champion.
You might think all alarm clock radios are the same, but when the power goes out, only one alarm clock radio is smart enough to reset itself to the exact right time every time. The Smart Set from Emerson Research. Now you'll never have to set your alarm clock again, because the Smart Set will always automatically set itself to the correct time, day, date, month, and alarm settings, no matter how long the power has been out. The Smart Set has all the features you want, including a built-in AM/FM radio, and his and her alarm settings that can each be set from Monday through Friday, weekends only, or one setting for every day of the week. And the Smart Set is the only alarm clock radio that will automatically set itself right out of the box, so you know it's always the right time. It even resets itself for daylight savings time and leap year.
That's smart.
All alarm clock radios are not created equal. With the Smart Set from Emerson, you'll never have to set your alarm clock again. Here's how to order yours now. To order your Smart Set, just call this toll-free number. Order a Smart Set for every room in your house and you'll never have to set a clock again. Smart Set comes with a 30-day guarantee. Don't wait. Call and order the Smart Set now.
When you put passion into everything you build, it's hard to just let go.
It's okay. We're all going to good homes.
When somebody gets Speedvision on their cable channel, inevitably he will tell you the very first thing he turns on.
Speedvision comes at it from the purist standpoint. They look at it the same way a fan or someone involved in the sport would look at it.
They want to explore a story further. They want to find a new way to try to bring motorsports into people's living rooms.
I think that our people very much bring the event alive.
We have to find a way to make the room rock when people are actually watching the race.
Ducati's 75th birthday bash was celebrated in style as Sean Emmett left most of the 2001 996 Ducati's tyre on the Goodwood tarmac, setting the tone for the day. And Paul Smart brought along his 1972 Ducati 750 together with a remarkable story.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those dreams come true. I mean, it was a series of circumstances and it all came together. I mean, it's unbelievable that you sign up for a company and says, well, we want you to ride this bike, it's going to win the race, and if you win the race, you have the bike, and it happened. And it happened on my birthday as well. It was wonderful.
And Mike Halewood's comeback victory in the 1978 TT was regarded by all who saw it as another once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Steve Wynn, you were responsible for putting together that wonderful, wonderful Halewood return to the Isle of Man when he won the TT in 1978. And here you are riding, I believe, the same bike.
That's right. Well, it was made wonderful by him, not by me, of course. But yes, that's true. And it's a real privilege that Larry Ariano, who owns the bike now in America, he's loaned it to the museum and they've allowed it to come out and be run. And that's really great. I mean, for me to be repatriated with the bike that I built originally, that we had such good fun with Mike on, then that's absolutely fantastic.
I think probably Halewood's feat at that Isle of Man TT was one of the most remarkable things ever to happen in motorcycle sport.
Well, it was because nobody really expected it. I mean, the few of us that were closely involved, we all seriously believed in it, and Mike obviously believed in it, but at the end of the day, we all did it for a bit of fun. And it was more than a bit of fun, it was a lot of fun. But it was done on that basis. There was no commercialism, no driving in the background for any sort of stardom or fame or anything from everybody. It was just a boys' jolly good day out.
Well, you brought it to the right place, because if that's one thing I can describe Goodwood as, it's a boys' jolly good day out.
Yep, I'd agree with that, absolutely.
One of Halewood's teammates at the 1978 TT was a certain George Fogarty. Making sure it was a good day out for all his fans was George Fogarty's son and superbike hero, Carl.
So, Carl Fogarty back on a Ducati, but at Goodwood for a bit of fun.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's going to be different. It's the first time I've rode one of these things since I retired with the arm injury last year. So, and this is the bike that won the championship on, I believe. So.
How are all your bits? Is everything sort of working pretty good?
Yeah, I can wobble up, no problem. It's just I couldn't get on one of these things and race it anymore. You know, with the position I need to be in and the strength I need in my arm. But just to ride up and down here, it's not a problem at all. I mean, there's a lot of people who want to see me ride this thing up.
You got 4 runs, I think, altogether.
Yeah, I think 2 today and 2 tomorrow. So by the end of Sunday, I should know where I'm going.
Yes, taking it nice and steady, just going for the wobble up the hill. No intention there. Here he comes, getting the wave and the shout. Gets the front wheel right the way up. Absolutely amazing. Heads towards the bridge with the front wheel pouring the air. 180 brake horsepower going back down through the back tyre. And that super champion, those wicked eyes and great skill.
BMW provided spectacle too in the form of 10-time British Enduro champion and Paris-Dakar star John Deacon. John spent as much time on the grass as he did on the track, attacking the hill in his own inimitable style. A sight rarely seen by the British public due to his racing in remote overseas locations.
And goes crashing down, rides it up the grass and goes at speed. Of course, going on the grass at speed is as of nothing to him. Chops it through, pulls the wheelie, 6'6" tall in the stirrups, having a lot of fun, really behaving like a vandal, entertaining us. And there he goes, holding a wheelie, holding it, and down comes the front end. And so John is really giving us there. John Deacon, the Paris-Dakar man.
Festival patron and former F1 world champion Damon Hill spoke to us about his passion for 2 wheels and his fondness for the Goodwood Festival.
Yes, I love bikes, and I started when I was 11 years old on bikes, and I had a passion for bikes, and that's where I originally was going to go, and then I switched to 4 wheels when I was about 24 years old. It's a terrific celebration of motor racing in all its forms, and I think that it's no pressure to compete, you know, so it's a chance to enjoy all the things, all the aspects that go into making this a very interesting sport, and it has so many different levels and so many different branches. But the essence is always there. It's sort of, the machines have been created out of people's passion to win, and some amazing cars out there. Some of them really beautiful ones. The old ones are beautiful.
And after the break, something completely different.
I remember 20 years ago how it turned the racing world upside down. First by introducing a race car with quattro all-wheel drive, and second by having a woman drive it.
Ultimate NFL fan experience. Go home! Tough, man. I got tickets to every away game of my favorite NFL team, plus airfare and hotel. Get lost! Thanks, Castro.
Hey, guys, when did you see the light?
On our last fishing trip. I mean, just flashed over me. Stay at Motel 6. Hey, I'm no fool. Saved big bucks and slept like a baby.
Yeah, like a big old snoring baby.
Well, call us and see the light for yourself.
Sundays are primed for adventure on OLN. At 6:30 p.m., get expert advice on the latest outdoor equipment. Before you buy, check it out on Gear Guide. Then, Life in the Balance and Brushes with Death when nature takes an unpredictable course. At 7, it's Wild Survival with Corbin Burnson. Plus, scale the highest peaks and explore where few have dared to venture. At 8 p.m., it's Adventure Quest. Adventure Sundays on OLN, the Outdoor Life Network.
Undoubtedly the hero of the 2001 Goodwood Festival of Speed was America's Bob Riggle in the remarkable 1966 Plymouth Barracuda Hemi Under Glass. A real handful on the narrow hill.
Now, what happened with the hay bale? There's a little bit of hay sticking out there.
Well, what happened is going down through there, there's still some slick spots from other tires and so forth. I got a little over the right-hand side, a little bit further than I wanted, you know, and it kind of pitched it to the right, and I tried to bring it back. But the minute you get the wheels in the grass, you're in trouble, and we kind of kissed the bales. I don't know what I've done to the car, but I knew I didn't do anything that was going to hurt the car for the show, so as they say, the show must go on, you know. So I come back out, and hopefully we made everybody happy all the way up through here, because I worked my hardest today. I mean, it was there were some wet spots down through there, and believe me, I did everything I could do. And I'll tell you, these people are just absolutely super here. I looked to my right, I looked to my left, and the people are just standing up, screaming and hollering and throwing their hands up, and they have no idea what that means to somebody like me, you know, coming from the States and being the first time in Britain and being able to put a show on for these folks. They've just been absolutely gorgeous. I've loved every minute of it.
Can you see the road at all?
I can see the edge of the road just by looking through this window here, and I can watch the edge of the track. I really can't see, you know, each side of where I'm at, just part of the road. But I have my steering brake here, you know, to be able to control it. But I was using that a lot coming up the hill. Our racetracks normally, one lane is twice as wide as this road is. I had a great time. I enjoyed it.
7 liters of Hemi power in the Dodge. Chewing on that cigar through his crash helmet. Absolutely unbelievable stuff. As he lets this thing rip, watch the car leap up on his springs and hustle away. Absolutely fabulous. He's smoking those tyres further than before.
Another real character at Goodwood was cigar-chewing Dick Landy in his Dodge Hemi Challenger, which ran the standing quarter in 9.75 seconds and won 12 out of 14 rounds in a season. Of course, Landy didn't usually need to negotiate corners in his Dodge back in the 1970s. More at home on the hill was this ultimate muscle car, the 1969 Boss Mustang, driven by Daniel Lippitz, once part of the Ford Trans Am champion team of 1970, and yet another car that represents Ford's amazing contribution to motorsport throughout its 100-year history. Craig Jackson from Arizona brought his Trans Am champion AMC Javelin to the hill. While perhaps NASCAR's greatest ever also made the trip, the 1974 Dodge Charger, driven by Tim Wellborn, although it wasn't exactly charging up the Goodwood Hill on the day. Meanwhile, Peter Windsor caught up with NASCAR hero Darrell Waltrip.
So, Darrell, this is what great Winston Cup drivers do when they retire. They come to the green grass of England and they run their cars up the hill here at Goodwood.
Yeah, this is, I've heard about this. Junior came last year and drove his old Chevrolet over here, 63 Chevy. He told me how much fun he had and how great the people were and what a wonderful event this was. He said, you ought to go sometime. I said, well, you know, if somebody invited me, I would. So we went and got this car out of the Talladega Museum. This is one of the cars I drove in 1985 when we won the Winston Cup Championship. And worked on it a little bit. Jeff Hammond has been working on it, and Junior, and here we are, having a big old time.
How does it feel?
Well, it felt pretty good until I backed it in the hay bales just now. You see this? See that tape? Jeff put a little extra tape on. He said, go for it this time. I said, all right, I'm going to go for it this time. I drove it in a little harder, but I didn't make it. But I had the fastest time up to that point.
Oh, well, that's
good
good
to know. I was
That's great to know.
I was right on it. I was as fast as a Formula One car up to that point.
So if you had to wander around the paddock, if you had a look at some of the other cars and drivers that are here?
You know, that's the thing I think that in America, there's just not the same appreciation for drivers, drivers in old cars, old drivers in old cars, you know, that the historical cars like you have here. You know, part of the tradition here and part of the concept here is the driver in the car. Yeah. This is my car. I drove this car in 1985. And that's the beautiful thing about, you go over here and you see all these old cars, and the guy that drove it originally is sitting in that car today. And I think that's part of the that's what makes it so much fun.
Well, it's wonderful to see a true original in this car.
No, thank you.
Have a great rest of the weekend and try and stay out of the strawberries.
It's been fun, and they got the biggest hay bales over here I've ever seen. And, you know, I've had Darlington Stripes. Now I have the Goodwood Gash, I guess, or the Goodwood Bash. Maybe I have the Goodwood Bash.
All part of glorious Goodwood.
Join us for more from the Goodwood Festival of Speed when we celebrate 90 years of the Monte Carlo Rally and 100 years of Mercedes, with some unique cars from the Stuttgart Museum. Ford are celebrating their 100th birthday as well. And we pay a visit to the Cartier Style Luxe Concours.